Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Pokemon Silver Nuzlocke. For those of you who don't know what a Nuzlocke challenge is, basically what it means is that, first of all, when you're going through a route for the first time, the only Pokemon you can catch there is the very first one. You're not required to catch it by any means, but that's the only one you can catch. So basically, if you run into a Rattata and you don't really want to Rattata, well, too bad, you're stuck with it. The second rule, and probably the most important part of the Nuzlocke challenge, is that if a Pokemon faints in battle, or outside of battle for that matter, it's dead. You have to release it, and you can't ever use it again. So this adds quite a bit of challenge to the game. It makes it a lot more interesting. I have done a Nuzlocke challenge on this channel before, but I never ended up finishing it because I really wasn't that satisfied with it. So we gotta just fill in the time real quick. The time is gonna be, looks like it's 12:56 right now in the afternoon, so I think we can scroll backwards there. And anyways, the other rule of the Nuzlocke challenge is kind of an optional rule, but I think it's just as important, is that you have to nickname each of your Pokemon in order to make sure that you actually have like a personal kind of connection with each of them. And as for the reason I'm playing the original Silver version and not Soul Silver, which is a remake of the game, it's actually mostly for nostalgia reasons. I mean, I could get the same nostalgia in certain ways from the remake, but at the same time, I kind of wanted to go back and experience the original. This was actually my first Pokemon game. I didn't really get into Pokemon that late, but I didn't actually get one of the games until Gold and Silver had just come out. I was definitely into Pokemon before then, and I had played with a lot of Pokemon toys, and I had all sorts of Pokemon stuff. I didn't have a Game Boy or the first Red and Blue. I didn't play those until after I had finished Silver version. But yeah, I wanted to go back, and I mean, since I've been reliving the old days a lot on this channel, what with, you know, Lego Racers and Star Wars Battlefront 2, I wanted to go back even further to the first real video game that I ever really played. And that would be this game, of course. And I figure, you know, you gotta make it a little more interesting, so that's why I decided to go with a Nuzlocke challenge. I thought about just doing a standard Let's Play, but I felt like, you know, we can make things a bit more fun. So yeah, one other thing I actually ended up figuring out how to do was doing that little overlay that you're gonna see. And the first thing we want to do here is change the text speed, not to slow, to fast. And I think that should be all good. And yeah, that's one of the first things. I actually learned how to do that before I started this Let's Play, because I've never done something like that before. And that's kind of part of the reason I haven't done a serious Pokemon Let's Play or Nuzlocke or anything like that. I really wanted to do one, but I feel like all the professional YouTubers have an overlay, and I've never really figured out how to do that. So yeah, I'm actually running on OBS, which is a free recording open source software, and I basically made a quick little overlay in GIMP, which is a free photo editing software, just like Photoshop, but it's free. And I believe today is Friday, and it's free. So basically, I'm just using the free equivalent of, is it daylight savings time? Yes, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. I never remember. It doesn't matter that much. It'll just throw off the times certain Pokemon appear in the game, but it won't really matter if you're watching this video because you'll probably watch it at a different time than I record it. So it really doesn't make a big difference to you guys, the audience. So anyways, yeah, I learned a couple new things putting this together. So yeah, this should be a fun journey. I'm definitely going to be doing a fair bit of editing in this series, because I know if you've watched Pokemon Let's Plays or played Pokemon yourself before, then you've seen this all before. You know, I don't want to make this too boring, so I'll definitely be cutting out a lot of random battles, random trainer battles, and all that kind of stuff. I'm still going to be recording during them in case of, you know, unforeseen circumstances where I die to a wild Pokemon or something like that. I want to make sure that gets recorded on camera, but I'll be doing a lot of cutting out of the random battles and such, just to keep things interesting. Because one of my favorite Nuzlocke Let's Plays I've seen on YouTube is Pro Jared, who does a lot of editing, because he actually records it from stream. So yeah, I kind of want to do, maybe not quite that level, but doing a fair bit of editing. And here we go, picking our first Pokemon. And of course, if you have seen my current channel banner, you know that Feraligatr is probably my favorite Pokemon, and it is. So of course I have to pick Totodile. There's literally no other option. Although, unfortunately, Totodile is not that good in these games, because this is before the special and physical split. happens, so... Actually, we're just going to stick with all caps. I'm going to name him Tsunami. I think that's a pretty common name I use for my water-type starters, but I didn't think of something beforehand. I'll probably leave some nicknames up to you guys, the audience, if I get enough of a following on this series. If not, I'll just come up with them myself. But yeah, I have to pick for Alligator because it's my favorite Pokemon. I think, honestly, if you want to go for the best starter, I would go with Typhlosion in this game. But for Alligator, it's probably the best when you actually get to the remakes that have the physical and special split. But right now, I'm going to be running... I'll still run special attacks on him, but his special attack is just not very good. He's much more of a physical attacker. So yeah, this should make things interesting, but I definitely remember back in the day when I played this game, I tended to pick for Alligator, and pick Totodile, evolve him into for Alligator. And I still ran stuff like Surf and all that kind of stuff on it. So it's not like he's completely useless, you know. And for in-game purposes, you know, the in-game portion of this game is not too difficult, so we're not going to be having too much trouble here. And I probably won't be cutting out the wild battles in the first episode here, because I do have some stuff I'm still talking about. So here we have a Sentret, and in the past when I've done Nuzlockes, I count these encounters as part of the encounters that I'm allowed to have. As in, you know, I encountered this Sentret here, and since I don't have Pokeballs, I can't catch it. But since this is the first one I encountered, I can't catch anything on this route. I think I might change that so I can come back once I have Pokeballs and actually catch something. So I'm not going to count these first couple routes the first time through since I don't have Pokeballs. And I figure, you know, I mean, this could get challenging. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't remember, except for certain instances such as Whitney's Miltank and Claire. I think it's Claire. Is Claire the last gym leader? Her Kingdra are both very difficult Pokemon. As well as some other ones. I remember there are quite a few difficult gyms in this game, so this could be a difficult challenge. I want to get every advantage I can get here. Actually, you know what? I'm probably going to start cutting out the battles in this one because I've kind of run out of things to talk about during the battle. So actually, I'm going to go back on my word. I'm actually going to cut out the battles after this one. And we're actually low on health already, but luckily, this is the first game to introduce berries. Which your Pokemon can hold and restore health. I don't think Red and Blue had held items at all. I don't think you could give your Pokemon items. So that is a new addition in these games, so that's definitely a cool feature. There's a lot of different stuff that Gold and Silver added that were not present in Red and Blue. A lot of nice little quality of life changes. A lot of those little changes, though, are kind of become reasons why I don't want to go back to the older games. For example, I never wanted to play the older games after Ruby and Sapphire came out because they introduced running. And the running shoes just makes things so much easier, just being able to get around a lot faster and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I kind of wish, you know, there was a way to do that back here. But there is a fast forward button on my emulator I could use, but I feel like that kind of takes away from the experience. I feel like if I fast forward through a game too much, because I fast forwarded through entire games, like I just leave the fast forward button on like permanently and play through the entire game, I feel like I lose some of that experience, you know, because you don't really get to hear the music and experience kind of the atmosphere of the games. This guy gives us a town map, so we're not going to worry about that, but we're going to heal up. We're not that far down in health, but we might as well get some of our PP back and all that kind of stuff. If you've never played Pokemon before and you're not familiar with any of the Pokemon mechanics, I hate to say it, but this probably isn't the Let's Play for you, because this isn't the kind of Let's Play that introduces you to the basics of the game. This is meant for more somebody who's already played the game and is interested in, you know, re-experiencing the classics, the old school Pokemon Silver version and such. So we're gonna buy a couple potions here just to make sure we're stocked up for our trip up to Mr. Pokemon's house. But yeah, I'm not going to be explaining any basic game mechanics here. If you want that, you can either play a Pokemon game for yourself and find out. I mean, it's pretty simple. So I mean, honestly, you could pick it up just by watching me, probably, without me explaining too much. By the way, my wife, actually my girlfriend at the time, a couple of years ago, first got into Pokemon playing Heart Gold. And this first area that you go through before you have Pokeballs, this was her first time playing Pokemon. She had never played before. She found a shiny Pidgey. I'm not kidding you. Before she had Pokeballs, she didn't know what it meant. She was like, hey, what's this? Why does this one sparkle when it came into battle? I was like, holy crap, you found a shiny! And now looking back at that, she realized how terrible it is that she found it like right then, and she never found another one, unfortunately. But yeah, it was like crazy luck right there, just finding a shiny your first time playing Pokemon within the first couple of encounters. So yeah, nowadays she's a little bitter about that happening. Although, to be fair, in the newer games, maybe not Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but I feel like X and Y and on, I feel like they upped the shiny rate, because I remember playing through, did I play through X or Y first? I played through X first, and if I remember correctly, I actually found like 2 or 3 shinies just playing through the game regularly, and I also found a shiny Oddish in Omega Ruby, and I actually put that in my team. Ended up with a shiny Vileplume, which I named Nuptup after Pro Jared's famous Vileplume that survived his Fire Red Nuzlocke. But yeah, I feel like the shiny rates got upped in the 3DS games. So anyway, so we picked up the Pokedex from Professor Oak, and Professor Elm was calling us, and apparently something terrible has happened, and I wonder if it has something to do with that mysterious man who was standing outside the window. The man who may have looked kind of like a girl because of his long hair, and because of sprite limitations on the Game Boy Color. What level is my Totodile at, by the way? 23. By the way, I just realized I forgot to update the little sidebar with my new Pokemon, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, because I completely forgot. I'm going to have to get used to this. Yeah, be right back. Okay, that's better. Now Tsunami's appearing in the sidebar. I'm gonna have to remember, like I said, I'm not used to doing stuff like that, so I gotta remember every time I catch a Pokemon, I'm gonna have to put it in the sidebar, unless I'm not adding it to my team. So what I was doing, I was gonna check the level of my Tsunami, level 6. Probably gonna grind up a couple levels here real quick, so we're ready for the rival fight that's coming up. You know, just in case, I don't want him to get a lucky critical off and end my Nuzlocke here, because I've actually had that happen before. If you remember back, which you probably don't, because I don't think anybody who watched that series is still around, but if you look back to the Emerald Randomizer Nuzlocke I did like several years ago, I actually ended up losing, I don't know if it was against a wild Pokemon or against my rival, and I ended the Nuzlocke there because I figured, you know, that's the end, I lost, you know, and I'm still going to count it that way. I know some people, if they lose to their rival, they just continue on because they don't really count that fight. But yeah, I'll probably count it, and if I lose, then that's the end of the Nuzlocke, and I'll just start over again, honestly, because I don't want to, you know, end the series here and just have that be that. Okay, so now we're leveled up to level 8 here, and Tsunami ended up learning Rage, which is pretty cool. I'm going to have to get used to the stat screen, because I'm not used to being like this anymore, because I'm so used to the newer games, and for some reason hang on, I'm going to go back in there real quick, because I feel like you should be able to change the order of your attacks. Somehow. I don't know what buttons press to do that. I'll have to figure that out. You might have to do that in battle. Because when I play Pokemon, I like to order my attacks in terms of damage. Usually I'll put whatever attacks have the same type attack bonus on top, and then kind of order them by the amount of damage they do, or by how often I use them. For example, I'd put, you know, something like Hypnosis, which is very useful, over top of something like Pound, which doesn't do much damage, you know, if I had stronger attacks. Anyways, here's our rival, question mark, question mark, question mark. Funny story, the first time I ever played Pokemon Silver, I thought that was actually his name. So later on, when the police officer asked you what was the name of the person who stole the Pokemon and attacked you, I just put in question mark, question mark, question mark, because, you know, that's what the game told me his name was. Later on, I realized, you know, you're supposed to actually fill it in yourself. That may have been more apparent if you had played the original Red and Blue, since you actually do get asked for your rival's name there, but for some reason, I don't know, I was, like, 6 or 7 at the time, so I thought, oh, you know, yeah, you know, his name was question mark, question mark, question mark, that makes sense, right? Yeah, anyways, that actually didn't go so bad. I probably didn't need to grind up those levels, but, you know, I want to be better, I figure better safe than sorry. I don't want to redo all of this. I'm not sure what I'd do if I actually died there, because I feel like I wouldn't want to start back over with Totodile again, because I feel like I would have lost that chance, you know, by losing here, but I don't know. Anyways, so it's a decent walk back to Professor Elm's lab, so I'm probably going to cut, and I'll meet you back there unless something interesting happens along the way. Alright, and here we are back in... What is this city called? I should know this. New Barktown. I want to say New Grovetown for some reason. That was just a little brain fart, though, because I should know all these names. Like, I know a lot of the dialogue of, like, random trainers by heart. And, like, their actual individual names and stuff like that. I should know, you know, the name of these towns, but I just had a little brain fart. I'm recording, I'm trying to talk and think of things at the same time, you know. But anyways, So now we can actually give him a name. I didn't really think about what I wanted to name him. Let's call him... we'll call him Ben, which, if you don't know, is actually my name in real life. So technically, I guess I'm going to be fighting against myself. So, yeah, I just couldn't think of a good name. We didn't mean to click on that. So let's go talk to Professor Elm. And apparently we found an egg. Apparently this is a big discovery, you know, in the Pokemon world. Whoa, did you know that Pokemon can breed and lay eggs? Whoa, that's a great discovery. They actually clarify this a little bit in the remakes. They actually say that it's like a rare egg or something like that. It's a different kind of egg. Because, you know, it seems kind of weird. You know, these are animals, you know, they breed. How else would they populate the earth, you know? Like, they have to, you know, do that somehow. They don't just magically grow out of the ground. I mean, maybe grass Pokemon do, but... yeah, this all seems a little bit silly, but, you know, this is how they introduce that concept to these games. And the Professor's Aid here is going to give us a couple Pokeballs, which we can use to catch Pokemon. And then after this, we're going to head over to talk to our mom before we leave. I forget to do that sometimes, because what you can do, you can have your mom save your money, and she'll save a little bit of it. I don't think we're going to do that, because I don't think there's really much of a benefit to it, because she actually spends it sometimes, and she'll spend it on stuff like, I mean, potions and berries, I think, but she'll also spend it on random decorations for your room. And I guess that's nice and all, but, you know, I don't think it's really worth it. We're probably not coming back to our room until, like, you know, the end of the game where it actually teleports you back there after you beat the Elite Four. So there's really no point in decorating the room because, you know, it's not a place we normally go to. Anyways, so we'll save continuing on and our first capture of the Let's Play for the next episode. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and if you have any nickname suggestions for, if you have specific Pokemon that I might run into that you want to give nickname suggestions for, you just want general nicknames you have, you want to give me, then leave them in the comments and I'll select them if anybody comments, but if nobody comments, then I'll just make up something myself. Alright, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.